This is the Uncommon Success Podcast, where we explore topics about success and dive into the stories of leaders who found success along the way.
And success isn't easy. It takes some grit, a little bit of luck, and a whole lot of patience.
We know that success comes in many shapes and sizes, and we're exploring them all.
So get ready for a journey through the remarkable stories of individuals who have faced challenges head on and learned many lessons along the way.
From business moguls to artists, educators to industry leaders, entrepreneurs to athletes. If it's an uncommon success story, we'll cover it.
The Uncommon Success Podcast. Real stories, real people, real success.
This week's episode is brought to you by Career Adventures. Are you looking for a quality job opportunity? Or maybe you're struggling to find great employees? Well, let me tell you about Career Adventures. They've been a trusted partner in the Arklatex region for almost 40 years. They go beyond traditional employment services, offering temporary and contract staffing, professional placement, national recruiting, testing, training, and human resource consulting. Their commitment is clear. Treat employees with dignity, provide unparalleled customer service, forge lasting partnerships with local employers, offer top-notch screening, and tailor hiring programs for each customer. Quality service at a competitive cost is their promise. You can contact them at 318-226-9675 or visit their website at www.careeradventuresinc.com. Career Adventures, where your success begins.
Welcome to episode 5 of the Uncommon Success Podcast.
Yes, welcome to our community. We're glad you're tuning in today. I'm your host, Andy Coates, and I'm joined by my co-host, the bundle of energy that keeps us on our toes, Miss Brinly Foxall.
Well, I went to Mardi Gras this weekend, had a whole lot of fun. My kids loved it, so I'll try to keep the energy, that Mardi Gras energy going.
Keep that energy rolling with us today on the podcast. I bet you're probably catching up a little bit from a busy weekend with Mardi Gras, hanging out with the kids, and now filming a little podcast with us today. So we're excited. Before we jump into our podcast today, let me introduce our special guest with us who's joining us. The general manager of Career Adventures, Miss April Heaberlin, is in the house with us today.
Hello.
Yeah, glad to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you
Good to
betcha.
be here.
I learned something this week in looking into the groundhog. Interesting enough, the groundhog, if it just kept its mouth shut, like if it didn't say anything at all, didn't see its shadow or not see its shadow, it would be more accurate than it is when it does see its shadow or not see it. So every year, they say it saw its shadow, we're going to have a longer winter or a shorter, whatever it means. But it's only right 30-something% of the time. So a coin toss, just flipping a coin, would be more accurate than the groundhog.
That's very interesting. I've got a lot of questions in how the groundhog sees its shadow, but there is some even more exciting news from the weekend. You guys want to hear it?
Oh, yeah. More exciting news coming up.
Yes, because Taylor Swift will be going to the Super Bowl. I saw an article about her jet is like squared away. We're going to the Super Bowl.
They've got to figure. I saw this week. So the biggest news isn't the fact, which it's the Chiefs and the 49ers who are going to the Super Bowl, but there's probably more interest in whether or not Taylor Swift is going to make it in time to the Super Bowl because she is in Tokyo or something.
Japan says she will be there.
So she'll be there.
happening.
I mean, it will be like a World War incident if this doesn't work out.
So are you guys 49ers fans or Chief fans or who you rooting for the Super Bowl?
Taylor Swift.
You're okay. April's rooting for Taylor Swift. What about you, Brinly?
I have to go with that,
Yeah.
Taylor Swift, or
Okay.
whatever team that whoever I'm watching with is rooting for. So I like to root for the opposite,
Oh,
just to
that's good.
stir up
Yeah.
drama.
you're just
Keep it
controversial.
interesting.
Yeah.
I like it.
So my wife is very similar. She'll ask me before every game that we're a part of. She'll say, "Who are we rooting for?" And she'll just get fired up about whoever it is. She won't even know who's playing, but she'll get excited about it.
I haven't heard about the halftime entertainment. I don't know.
I haven't heard anything either.
I
Probably maybe Taylor Swift.
Maybe.
Surprise
gonna show
concert
up.
by Taylor Swift.
I did read something interesting this week about Taylor Swift. So in June of 2023, this is the Uncommon Success Podcast, so we love to hear about stories of people's success journeys. So Taylor Swift, June of 2023, that's just 6 months ago, her net worth was at $740 million. which is quite impressive.
Right.
$740 million. 6 months later, here we are, January of 2024. We're in February now, but when this came out, January 2024, her net worth was at $1.1 billion.
Okay, but is it inflation? Or has she just gotten that much better?
She had her big tour, and I guess now all of a sudden, because she picked up some Chiefs fans or something too.
Yeah.
I don't know, but
milk prices increased.
Yeah.
Taylor Swift.
I mean, it's just inflation. It's just,
yeah, gotta be.
I mean, ticket prices are outrageous. I think to go to one of her concerts, you can probably pay more to go or pay less to go to the Super Bowl than get into her concert.
I've looked for tickets.
But to the Super Bowl or to the Taylor Swift concert?
Definitely Taylor Swift.
So they estimate that since her and Kelsey started dating, that they estimate she has brought to the NFL and to the Chiefs over $350 million in revenue.
Wow.
Just by her showing up for her boyfriend's football game.
How convenient for the NFL.
Yeah.
They say that it was millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars within the first month of her showing up to the Chiefs game of apparel alone, of Chiefs apparel. That's crazy. So, I mean, sure, it's great that her net worth is going up, but just the fact that she shows up to football games just has driven the revenue up. Because now all of a sudden you've got all these Swiftie fans who aren't interested in the Chiefs whatsoever. All of a sudden they're Chiefs fans.
That's right.
And
it's crazy.
Who knows how much it's going to generate come Super Bowl time. But pretty wild. So, question for you. Would you be, I could probably guess on this. Mm-hmm. Would you be more likely to go to a Taylor Swift concert, or, let me throw this one out there, or the Super Bowl? If someone offered you tickets right now, Super Bowl tickets or Taylor Swift, front row seat Taylor Swift or Super Bowl tickets?
What seat in the Super Bowl? Private suites? Like what we talking?
No, just I'll give you midfield, 40 to 40, somewhere in that range, and about halfway up. You're not front row, but they're good seats. Not in a suite or nothing, but good seats at the Super Bowl or seats of your choice at a Taylor Swift concert.
Would I be going by myself or with family? That's another question. Because I'm outnumbered. Oh, we have more boys in the house, so okay. I feel like Super Bowl would be.
They would be mad at mom if you didn't pick Super Bowl.
Right. Yeah.
Just you. If it's just you going.
I think I would actually choose Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Because you get the halftime show too.
It's true.
So, I don't know, just a fun experience.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And there's plenty of Taylor Swift concerts you could go to at some point, but Super Bowl's it's once a year.
Yeah.
What about
you? What about you, Andy? Would you go to a Taylor Swift concert? And could you admit the honest answer on this podcast?
Are you a Swiftie?
I'll give you the honest answer. I wouldn't go to a Taylor Swift concert
if you paid.
If I were given the ticket and paid to go. It'd have to be a good amount. I'm not a big music guy. Yeah. In fact, I listen to podcasts. Right. I don't listen to a whole lot of music. So to go sit for hours at a concert has no interest to me whatsoever. Yeah. So there's the likelihood that I'm going to go to a Taylor Swift concert is.
I feel like he's holding out on us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that I'm really a hidden Swiftie fan.
Like under that quarter zip, it's like Taylor Swift.
Right. Well, for those of you who are listening, I'm rocking a Swiftie shirt right now. I couldn't even sing you a song of hers, but I want to, right now in the moment I'm trying to think. I was just going to bust out singing something, but I don't know a single Taylor Swift song.
You need to fix that for next week.
Next week,
come
that's
back.
Our challenge. Yeah,
come back.
Ready.
Come ready with a Taylor Swift song. I'd have to say, man, that's tough. I think if you go to this year's Super Bowl, you're kind of getting both.
Yeah,
like a Swiftie thing and a show. That's what I would go. Yeah, I'd go for it. Get them all.
Yeah. So
we should definitely do a poll and ask that online this week.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah. We'll ask our community. So yeah, we'll put that out there on Instagram, Facebook. We'll put it on all of our platforms.
All of them.
The question, I could do a poll to see what are you more likely to do? Go to a Super Bowl, take the tickets,
and they win
roll.
Tickets, right?
Now you are not receiving these tickets. This is not a gift to you listening. But speaking of though, last week we put out there that hey, leave some comments and we're going to do a drawing for it. Some people missed out on that. It was a quick turnaround we did from release date. It was only a couple of days. Many people listening to the podcast afterwards. So we're going to extend that. So you're not missing it. If you were listening and you missed a few days late, you're not going to miss anything. We're going to extend it for the whole month of February. Yep. If you leave a comment, then you'll get into the drawing. So that's on any of our platforms. You leave a comment, then we will put you in the drawing for those 2 books at the end of the month. Probably 1st of March we'll do the drawing.
Yeah, we don't want anybody mad at us. So we extended it so that you'll all be happy.
Yep. Did that just for our fans.
Just for the fans.
That's how much. Don't want any fans getting mad. Well, before we jump into our topic, Brinly, why don't you tell us a little bit more about our guest who's here with us today?
All right. I would absolutely love to. I'm going to read you her bio. April Heaberlin has been married to her high school sweetheart, Dustin Heaberlin, for 16 years and is the proud mother of 3, Hayden, Hudson, and Bella. She is the general manager at Career Adventures, where she has worked for 17 years and an active member of Calvary Baptist Church. April was born and raised in the good old Shreveport and graduated 2007 from LSUS with her degree in business marketing. Years of working and staffing, along with her son facing a life-threatening cancer diagnosis, has grown her desire to help others in their time of need. This growing passion for others has led April to fostering and volunteering in roles as the Stripped Ministry Lead with Purchase Not for Sale, St. Jude Miracles on the Red, and Embrace Life Ministry Lead at Calvary Baptist Church. If they aren't busy at one of the kids' ball games or activities, you can find them either on the water or sitting around a campfire. That sounds lovely.
Do you ever have that time to sit around the campfire or get out on the water?
We try as much as possible. I mean, it's my happy place. If you get a fire on the beach, which we've done that before, perfect. That's the ultimate. That is, I really recommend that.
What is getting out on the water? Is that like the lake,
boat,
a pool?
Lake? Yeah, we love, staying on Cross. My parents live on Cross Lake, so we like to go water skiing, and my husband's a big fisherman, so great. Yeah, the beach, anything with the water. I just love it.
I just heard party at your house next weekend.
Yeah. We don't have a pool though. That is one thing we're working on. I'm working on my husband on, I should say. So.
Well, this is episode 5. We're talking about the value of a strong network.
Yeah, so let's discuss a little bit. April, today we're going to talk about the value of having a strong personal and professional network. So let's take a few minutes and just talk about that a little bit. Like, how would you define, we're looking at a personal network and a professional network, you being a manager in the professional realm, but also very active in your community and in your church and stuff. So we can have some discussion around it, but what do you think it means when it says a strong personal network and professional network? What do you think?
Network, I actually looked it up because I'm like, man, a lot of these topics are around this. And so I just wanted to make sure I had full understanding, and it is true. It's where you have, a relationship between two that are both are benefiting from that. And so, in my scenario, I don't really just seek out network. It just kind of, because needs arise and different things come up, it's just, I'm big about proximity. So I always look at people around me and people that I'm in contact with, people that I work with and do ministry with. And because, we all are in this together. It's not easy to do alone. So I'm big on community and relationships and helping each other out.
That's good. So really kind of, even for our framework of our discussion today, I love that definition, that mutually beneficial, where it's the network, whoever's inside of it. It could be multiple people, could be individuals, whoever's involved, it's mutually beneficial. And so let's dive into your story a little bit. So Brinly, kick us off here with some questions.
I'm excited to kick us off. Well, give us a little bit of background about your professional career. You chose marketing, a marketing degree. You've worked for 17, 18 years for Career Adventures. Mm-hmm. You volunteer with a few ministries. So kind of give us a little bit of that background.
Yeah, sure. Graduated from Byrd High School, went to LSU. My brother was at LSU Baton Rouge, went to one football game, and I was sold. I have to go here, love the environment, love the excitement there. And original major was elementary education, and I loved kids, and I thought that was the route I was going to go, and started observing some classrooms and realized this was not for me every day. Love kids, but
not everybody else's has to be around you every day.
Yes. So I knew I loved business. My mom has always been in business, my dad too, and so more on the creative side, though. I'm more of a visionary and, creative and more than an accountant or financial, So I just, marketing is what I ran to. But at the time, it's really funny because our marketing projects we were working on are, ads you would put in Yellow Pages and the newspaper. And so everything obviously is completely changed with social media and everything online now.
15 to 17, 18 years, that makes a big difference.
It really does.
When it comes to marketing.
Yeah, so I really feel like I need to go back to school, honestly, for my marketing degree. But after I graduated, my mom owns Career Adventures. She's opened it, she opened it in 1985. So 6 weeks after her ribbon cutting, she found out she was pregnant with me.
Wow.
And she was obviously devastated. I mean, she's just opened up a business, which is like a baby to you. And
Right.
she's expecting. And it was just, I wasn't planned. My brother's 7 years older than me. They were one and done. And, obviously the Lord had different plans. But so it was a really hard time for her, those first 2 years of business, raising a young child. So it is something that I grew up with. It's always been a part of my life. And I've seen my mom put her blood, sweat, and tears, in that business. And so when I graduated, because I'm a little more independent, I was like, I love that was for you, but I'm going to go do my own thing. So I'm just going to graduate. I'm going to work here just for a little bit, just to kind of get my feet wet. And then I'm going to go, do my own thing, maybe find a marketing job somewhere. And so, went on a couple interviews and just, I don't know, after working there for a while, I started to fall in love with it. And I fell in love with the people, because, I was interviewing people all throughout the day. We were helping them find jobs, and it was just so rewarding. And then, I had to do the, thing where you tuck your tail and you're like, can I, Mom? I know I said I never would work here, but.
So that's how you kind of jumped into the career, that career service industry, I guess. Family, you grew up in it. You knew it well. Yeah. Wanted to venture off, but something was kind of drawing you back to say, this is,
for sure.
I really enjoyed this side of it.
Yeah.
So for you in that, like what made that be the route to take over were there any other passions or thoughts you had that you were looking to pursue?
Yeah, I mean, I was a dancer growing up. I danced at Bird and different things. So I thought, I even coached Catamilta Magnets dance line on the side. I always have a side something going on.
Yeah.
And so and I loved that. I loved dancing and investing in the girls and all that. But I just fell in love with it. I fell in love with everything about it. And so I started off just kind of at the bottom, wanted to work my way up. I mean, I think I started in data entry, like just entering things in. And what I so appreciate about my mom is she never pushed it on me. It was never something that was expected of me. She wanted me to choose it, and I so appreciate that. And I did. I wound up choosing that, although I'm asking my kids now, hey, guys, anybody would want to take over this when Mom gets older and can't... No. It's like, okay, it's okay.
Sowing little seeds. Everybody needs a job.
Right.
Hey, they might turn around.
Yeah.
So what do you love about it? What do you love about being able to do what you do every day?
Yeah. So my biggest thing is, and my mom's motto was helping people help people, or help people help themselves. But my biggest thing is helping people meet opportunity. That is, I love it. I love everything about it. I love getting to know the person. Just by looking at a resume, you get to know the person more in depth and know, where they would be a good fit for. You see potential in them. And so helping them find opportunity in our local area. So, and then also helping our clients' staff, they have needs and they have, demands that they have to meet. So it's helping two different people out at one time. So it is.
That's awesome.
Really a neat opportunity to kind of see that.
Kind of part of that mutually beneficial.
That's
like
right.
You're helping the employer find great employees, and you're helping great employees find great employers.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So for you, kind of finding that little bit of a niche of just, I enjoy helping connecting people to opportunities, but really ultimately it sounds like it's all about just wanting to help people.
Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit about the ministries you're involved in. So like obviously you're a mom and 3 kids running around everywhere,
right?
And a professional businesswoman. So like, these ministries, how do they tie in? Tell us a little bit, why those ministries and how they connect to your
Yeah.
story a little bit.
Well, I have to kind of go backwards a little bit.
Okay.
So, I started working full time at Career Adventures in 2007. We had our first child in 2009, our second one in 2011. And, just living normal life. We went to church and went home, and it was just a routine, very comfortable, life that we had. And everything kind of came to a halt in 2014. My oldest son, who was 4 at the time, we were skipping church. We were playing. It was a beautiful spring day. We took him to the park, and my son was standing behind one of those little seesaw swings. He was pushing it, and it came back and it hit his head. And then he had immediate signs of a concussion, very bad headache, and felt lethargic and felt nauseous and light sensitivity, all these things. So we took him to the ER. We thought it was a concussion for sure. And they said, no, it wasn't. They did a CAT scan. Maybe it's a virus, and just to, give him some rest and all that. So the symptoms progressively got worse throughout the week, and we took him back to the pediatrician, and, he looked back at the CAT scans. He said, everything looks fine. I think just maybe it'll kind of stop in a couple of days. And so...
Yeah.
And it didn't. And it got to the point where he wouldn't even get out of the bed. We couldn't turn the lights on. Motrin, Advil wouldn't even touch it. Tylenol wouldn't touch his pain. And so we sent our scans to a friend of ours who was a neurosurgery nurse at Ochsner. And he had the surgeon look, and they said, something's not right. His ventricles are enlarged. You need to get him here as soon as possible. So...
Wow.
Rush over there. They admitted him because he was very dehydrated just from his symptoms. And they admitted him. The next day they did an MRI, and they told us that, hey, we were not expecting this, but your son has a brain tumor. And it's
Wow.
on the base of his brainstem, and he has a cyst on top of it. So they are thinking something with the impact made the cyst aggravated. And so it made it grow, which was blocking some fluid and causing hydrocephalus type symptoms in his brain. And so we were like, what? Excuse me? This is
Wow.
not part of our plan. This is not, so that was really a punch to the gut. We were not expecting that at all. And the surgeon had to fly out, and we had another surgeon come in and they did a biopsy, and we found out it was cancer. And next thing you know, 10 days later, we're flying to Memphis, Tennessee at St. Jude. And, they're letting us know that he has, chemo and radiation. He's going to have a second brain surgery to resect the tumor. And, meanwhile, I'm helping to manage a business at home. My husband's working. We have another son who is about to be 2 at the time, and we're going to be in Memphis, Tennessee for the next 7 months, So it was a really just life-shifting, there will always be a before and after, that time.
Because you probably had your plans. You thought this is...
for sure.
We're on this track, for life, for business, for professional, whatever.
Yeah.
You had a plan.
For sure.
And then now all of a sudden, everything has changed.
I know.
Wow.
And at the time with Career Adventures, Randy Miller is my partner that we run it together, and he's awesome. He's 20 years older than me, has a lot of experience, and I'm so thankful for him. But before all this happened, he and I were kind of, we have 2 different management styles, so we were kind of butting heads. And when all this happened, he had to step up, and I appreciated him more than ever because I wasn't able to take care of business at home, and he appreciated me because he's having to carry more, So anyway, when I finally got back home, it made us better, even at work. So so I was so grateful for all of it at the end of it. But it was a pretty rough few months, a lot of unknowns. We had to be isolated a lot because of his blood counts being so low. He was very neutropenic with all the chemo. Brain radiation on a 4-year-old is not great. Their brain's still developing, so we had to sign off on 5-6 pages of list of side effects that could happen to him, including secondary cancers. You're like, why would I sign this, for my child? But if we didn't do that, his prognosis was very poor. And so we didn't have much choice, but we had the church, the same church that we didn't go to regularly, that we missed out a lot on. rally around us and be there for us during that time. And during his second surgery, we had about 60 people. We were in Memphis, Tennessee, waiting surgery, and we had 60 people at our driveway, neighbors, friends, family, church, colleagues, on our driveway praying, and went in his bedroom and prayed over his bedroom. And so today, he is actually, this October, he will actually be 10 years cancer-free.
Wow.
I know.
That's
so we're
awesome.
so grateful. And all of those side effects that we were so fearful of, we have not seen one. So
That's amazing.
praise the Lord. And
Yeah.
so we're just so grateful for all of that. But being gone for work for that long, about 8 months, and then coming back after experiencing that, it was weird.
Right.
It was very odd to go back to the same daily rhythm, daily routine that I was in before, because I saw too much. I saw too much brokenness. We were friends with family who lost babies and kids, from their cancer diagnosis and treatment and all that. So it was just really hard to go back to work and kind of get back in that groove. And then in my mind, I was like, there's got to be more. Like, there's got to be more and I know we're helping people, and I'm so grateful for that. But for me, it was just, I can't go back to my comfort. Like, I've been so uncomfortable for the past, and I can't unsee what I've seen. I can't. And so it just ignited this thing within me and my family. Like, we got to do more. Like, we got to give back, because so much was given to us undeservingly,
Yeah.
and so much was poured into us, and we had so much support, and I wanted to do that, for other people.
Right.
And so
Right.
it kind of led me on the journey of seeking out, like, okay, what ministries, what nonprofits, are here in the area that, I would be passionate about. And so my sister-in-law just adopted at the time her daughter from China, and Cassie Hammett at the Hub was kind of looking into adopting from China. And so they met up, and I was like, hey, can I just show up to lunch with y'all? I know I'm not invited, but I just want to learn more about her ministry.
Crash this party.
She's like, it's fine, but we're going to be talking about adoption. I'm like, that's okay. You can talk about, I just want to learn more. And she's like, okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
And so anyway, so I'm just the third wheel. It's fine. I loved it. I loved hearing their conversations about adoption. And then anyway, Cassie was talking about the Hub and purchased and all that. And, she's like, so what do you do? And I was like, oh, I help people find jobs. And she's like, I know women who need jobs. I was like, great. Who are they? Let me meet them. And so that's kind of how I got started with the Hub, with purchase. And so I started going to outreaches with Stripped. It's a strip club outreach. We go twice a month. Been doing that for about 7-8 years now.
Wow.
And so, and in 2020, she's asked me to kind of lead and take over, since all COVID, and she had her hands in a lot of different areas in ministry. And so, and then it led us to fostering. It was, watching my sister-in-law adopt and going through that process. My son, a year after treatment, we thought that his tumor had come back. He was having symptoms all over again. And so they admitted us in the hospital. They kept pushing back his MRI. And while we were at the hospital, we met a little girl that was 8 years old, and she was going through cancer treatment herself. She had a brain tumor, and I wanted to meet her mom, and they told us that her mom's 2 floors above her in ICU. She's in stage 4 cancer. She's not going to make it.
Wow.
And they told us that her dad's in jail, and she's in foster care waiting on a family to take care of her. And I was like, I can be the family. I didn't know it was illegal to take children from the hospital at the time. I was just like, I know what to do with her. Like, we went through this with my other son,
Yeah.
And so anyway, it was not, my son had a severe case of sinusitis. His cancer did not return. We're so thankful. But I know that we were there for a reason, because we met her, and that just opened the door for fostering for me. And my husband is way more logical than I am. He's like, hey, we don't know if this is returning in our, son, like, if this cancer is going to come back, because we had a 2-year window. If it were to return, it would be during that time. So he's like, let's just get past the 2-year window, and I might entertain the conversation. And so I was like, okay. So I was being very patient, and I think he was thinking that would kind of die in me, and it just grew stronger.
2 years of stirring.
Yeah. So, anyway, we wound up going through foster training, and that's Bella, our 9-year-old. We got guardianship of her actually last summer, and so yeah, that's how she's a part of our family.
So even just in hearing a little bit of that story, it seems like there's a piece of it that kind of that shifted for you, and that you had this, you were on your career path,
Right.
major event happens in life, and then because of a community surrounding you, those even at the time not realizing the network that you had around you,
Yeah.
that stood in there with you, like how did, I guess, that group of people standing in the gap for you guys, encouraging, supporting, how did that shift everything for you guys in your personal journey now?
Yeah.
Like how did
Yeah,
that
that's a great
influence it?
question. So some of the people that were standing in that driveway, I didn't really know at the time, and I would say 2 of them are one of our close, like best friends, closest friends, and we didn't even know each other at the time, and so it is. I cannot tell you how, we always talk about like a marker, like maybe a spiritual marker in your life. And it was that for us. It was, I mean, the healing and everything was, like, do not get me wrong. Like, I'm so grateful for my son's healing and the good news we received there. But when people stand in the gap in that way, selflessly for me, like, I mean, it's just a picture of Jesus to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it really just shifted, like, okay, what is the why behind I do things now? Like, I just don't want to just go through the motions. Like, I really don't feel like all that happened just by happenstance. I feel like it happened for a reason. And I don't know. It wanted me to be that person for other people.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And not to, not to justify what I'm not doing it, to justify that, but I'm doing it out of a heart of like, oh, so much was given to me, so I just want to give whatever I can, whatever that looks like, and so and time is one of the biggest resources that I know is important. That I know that I just want to invest in people when I can and give back in that way.
What would you say for someone going through a hard time?
Yeah.
And they don't feel like they have a network. What's the advice do you have any advice looking back for them? Like, how do you build that when you need people?
So that's one of the reasons that drives me to want to go to a strip club or want to go to, people in need in any way. We have a single moms ministry at our church, and they feel alone a lot,
Is that the Embrace Life? Is that,
Embrace
okay.
Grace, Embrace Life.
Yeah.
We have it at our church, and that's the thing that, like, I don't want anyone to feel that way because it's a lie. They're not alone. There's people that want to surround them and be around them and love on them. And same with foster care, just a child in need. And even the bio parents too, even going through that process and seeing what they went through. But I would say, get involved in whatever local church or whatever community you're in. Like, again, proximity is big to me. So, like, who's around you? Like, who do you know that consistently is checking in on you and who cares about you? And maybe start there, just someone. And if you really don't have anyone, I would say pray about it because the Lord's, like, ready to send people to you.
Yeah.
That's not it. He wants you to have people. So,
But it can't be done alone.
Right.
Like, in order to be part of any kind of network, that proximity does matter. You've got to be around people.
Yeah.
And I know someone like myself, I get energy. I get energized. I'm an extrovert. So being around people fills me up.
Yeah.
For those people who are introverts, it's very draining.
For sure.
And so it's exhausting to be around people, but it still matters.
Yeah.
And so that proximity has moments of maybe being exhausting or threatening or scary,
for sure.
or especially if
For
that's just
sure.
not in your world.
Right.
But without it, man, it's
Yeah.
hard to find that level of success and comfort and support that you guys found walking through that difficult situation.
Yeah.
So kind of just balancing those meaningful personal and professional connections, that can be a challenge. Just kind of just keeping up with relationships is difficult to
Sure.
do.
Yeah.
So in your journey, just curious, are you an introvert, extrovert?
Extrovert.
Extrovert.
Yeah.
So it's probably a little easier for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
But you're also very busy. So maintaining
Yeah.
those professional and personal relationships, what does that look like for you? How do you balance that, navigate that in your own personal life?
Yeah, sure. Great question. With people.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, with the strip ministry, with work, or with any other ministry, like, I mean, I'm a volunteer, but we have other volunteers too. I can't hold the weight of it alone. Never was meant to do that anyway. And it's a big relation-based ministry, so a lot of mentorship, one-on-one. That's not all of me. That's it. We have a whole team of people who are open and available to have that one-on-one with someone. And so I have a capacity that I kind of like, okay, I can go up to here, but I can't, go past this if I want to do it well, invest in people. And so, and I just kind of have to navigate that as I go. But, I have a hard time saying no sometimes. And my husband is the one in the background, like, okay, it's too much. It's too much. I'm like, you're right. You're right. So I have a hard time seeing the limit to my capacity sometimes, but grateful for people like him who keep me in check.
And having those people around you that share the load, that's definitely helpful.
Oh, I mean,
you're trying to maintain a community.
Yeah.
Having people who share that load of maintaining that helps.
And I'm not a savior. I'm not anyone's savior or anything, but I'm going to walk with you, and I'm going to encourage you and cheer you on and love on you, and maybe point you to resources that would help you. But just kind of navigating that the best way I can with the people around me. We couldn't do that ministry solo, for sure. So
you've talked a little bit about your personal network, your ministry network, but how do you feel like your professional network has been impacted? Like, how have the people around you helped you in your success?
Yeah. So I think one of my favorite things is when we've placed maybe someone at a job, and then that person is the one that's calling us, for employees. Yeah. That is one of the coolest things to me, because it's like, you help them obviously, but them to call you and trust you enough to want to, call you to help find employees and different things and give you business. It's really like a full circle moment for me. I always get so excited when that happens. But beyond that, I mean, I just, on a professional level, I think it's building on to what we have, but it's also digging deeper in relationship with what we have as well, like being a good steward to those relationships too. So not just adding more onto it, but taking more time to invest in our current clients and different things like that. So
kind of just, thinking through this a little bit, like you're in a very unique situation, having ministry opportunities, your business opportunities, a lot of that surrounding about the network of people that you're around. Kind of thinking through your career and that personal journey, what key qualities do you think makes those people in your life like truly valuable?
So I will say it was seeking a mutual benefit, strings attached sometimes, I help you, you help me, you scratch my back, I scratch yours. But for post 2014 and everything that I went through with my son, I don't seek the mutual benefit. The benefit is that I'm being obedient to what I'm called to do. And the Lord blesses that. But it's not something that I'm seeking out of that person, so to speak. It's not a void within me in that way that I'm trying to. It is just what those people did in the driveway for us. They weren't seeking any benefit from us after that. They were just there because they wanted to be there, and so they just loved us right where we were, not expecting anything in return. And that's kind of where I'm at now. With relationships, I just want to be there because I love you, and there's no strings attached, and I just want to be here for you, type thing. So
I think that's such a great lesson for all leaders to learn, that, especially as you're growing and developing, you're trying to be successful, whether you're out there building a business, you have employees that are working for you, whatever it might be, that as you're trying to develop that network, those people around you, it's really easy for us to only focus on how is this going to benefit me?
Sure. Right.
My time invested, my effort I give, all that you're looking for the benefit. And fortunate and unfortunate for you guys was going through that very tragic moment that could have been very devastating.
Sure.
That really woke you up to say, that's all great.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's not seeking something in return.
Right.
It has to be bigger than that. And
Yeah.
so just for you, man, I think that's an incredible story that it shifted really probably where you found that purpose was in that moment of, through that journey you guys walked through, and seeing that shifted everything for you guys. So I love that. It's great.
Yeah. Well, thank you. And the little girl that I mentioned that I met at the hospital, we just found out, that, I told you she was 8 and she was waiting for a foster home that opened the door. But her battle with cancer ended this past year. So she was close to 18 years old and passed away.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And we were devastated to find out. And I was like, she has no idea. She has no idea the impact that she made on us.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have my daughter, if it wasn't for her right now.
Right.
And I think about that a lot. Sorry if I get emotional. But I think about that a lot because I don't have to see the fruit of the work that we do. I just have to trust, any seeds that we plant or anything that we're watering, anything in that area, the Lord's going to grow. And it could just be a one-time encounter that, maybe I have at a strip club with a girl. Who knows? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so that we don't know the impact that we could be having on someone eternally, for that reason. And so I think about her a lot, and again, she knows now, the impact that she's had on us and our family, but she didn't know at the time and never knew it, the whole time. But, I just think about that a lot. Just in one encounter with someone, can maybe change the course of their decisions, their life decisions,
I think that even speaks to, a lot of people think they don't have necessarily value to that network.
Yeah.
That they're trying to grow a network, and they're like, but what am I bringing to the table? You never know. The smallest of things can be the biggest pivotal moments in someone else's life that you may never even realize.
That's right. We had a girl that we met at the club, and we were talking about kids. She had 3 kids at the time, and I showed her, we were fostering 2 kids at the time, so I had 4, and she was like, oh my gosh, you're a mom of 4. I was like, I know, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm struggling, but it's great. It's crazy, it's chaotic, but it's great. And she's like, I'm pregnant right now, and I was going to go to the abortion clinic tomorrow, but I feel like this is a sign, because maybe you're encouraging me to be that you can do it and be a mom of 4, so maybe I can do it too. And I'm like, what? I had no idea. Showing her a picture of my kids, that is life or death. That's what I'm saying. We have no idea. Who knows? Walmart and everything. I'm like, Lord, who are you putting around me right now? Again, proximity. Just to be aware of those around us.
All right, well, now what we're going to do, April, is we're going to jump into what we call our rapid fire part of the podcast, where we ask you just some questions. So just a 20, 30, 40-second response to these answers, just off the cuff, what you got. So Brinley's going to kick us off with our rapid fire question.
All right, here we go. First one. What do you love about the ministries you serve in?
What do I love? I love the hope that I get to share with someone maybe that's in despair or struggling. Because again, I go back to my story too. It was just needed hope in those moments where you feel like everything's caving in on you. So just hope, and even on the employment side and the staffing side, just the hope that we can, you can find a job and we can help you with your resume and just different things like that. So just the hope.
Awesome. So what's the most helpful advice that you've ever received?
Okay, this was from my husband. He's told me this multiple times. I'm very forward thinking and focused and future oriented, and he always tells me to be where my feet are, be present. He literally always tells me that. So that is definitely something that replays in my mind when I know that I'm being not present in whatever I'm doing. So thankful and annoyed all at the same time for him. Yes.
That's good advice.
Yes.
Okay, so what's the most difficult lesson you've had to learn?
Saying no, having boundaries, saying no to things. It's more of the people pleasing thing in me sometimes. I think I have, but yeah, saying no is the hardest thing.
hard.
Yes.
Would that be more with, is it with opportunities, or is it more just with people who need help that like that?
All of it.
Okay. Yeah.
All of it. Learning boundaries. I'm 38 years old and learning how to say no and having boundaries. So, but yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Who would you say has invested in you the most over the years?
Yeah. I mean, my parents, obviously, look up to them a lot. My dad came from nothing. His mom was a single mom. Dad was an alcoholic. He started working when he was 8 years old,
Wow.
and stocking shelves and taking a city bus, and which is crazy to think about now. So he just worked his way up to the top, at a pipeline company, and did very well for himself. My mom too. They're just their work ethic, and my mom was always big on networking and building relationships in our community and seeing our community grow. So I think, just seeing them and how they, just their character and work ethic. And my dad is one of the most humble, gentle, generous people I know. So I just, they might not be, investing in me, just coaching me all the time, but just seeing them in action.
Their model, their example.
Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
yes. So very thankful for them.
That's good.
Next one. What is your favorite book and why? Can't say the Bible.
I can't say the Bible, but I have a lot. So can I say?
Yeah, give us your best ones. Yeah.
Everybody's got their notepad. They're like,
Okay.
all right, we're reading all these.
Yeah, so one of my favorite books that kind of shifted the way I think and even pray is The Circle Maker.
Okay. Mark Batterson.
Mark Batterson,
Yeah.
yes, so good. And the devotion I always pick up is Secrets from the Secret Place by Bob Sorge. And then I've read this, and I'm rereading this right now. It's another book that just kind of transformed the way I think and pray too. Was Praying Like Monks, Living Like Fools, or Living Like Monks, Praying Like Fools. Tyler. Either one.
Either way, it sounds good. It's very
so
interesting.
good. It's so good. So yeah. But yeah, those are the ones that are my go-tos.
Awesome. So what's next for you? What's next for April? Like when you looking out, you're a visionary person, so when you're looking out toward the future, what do you see as kind of the next season?
Yeah. I think what's next for me is just to be a good steward to what the Lord has given me right now. Just like I said earlier, just being more present in the day-to-day. My son just turned 14. My husband's about to be 40. It's been this weird, reflection of, oh my gosh, I have 8 more Christmases with them. You know what I mean? That he's at our house. And so just making more memories with my family and my kids, and, making sure I'm investing at home first. So.
And your kids are 14,
11, and 9.
11 and 9.
Yeah.
So you're limited on time, so just being very present
I know, I don't want
in
to talk about
the moment.
I know.
I don't like thinking about it either.
So yeah, that's just kind of my focus right now.
Love it. Thanks for sharing a little
yeah.
sneak peek behind the scenes of your story a little bit with us today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, I want to give a special thank you to our sponsor today, Career Adventures. And April, I want to thank you so much for such an incredible story. We just have so many takeaways from today. Andy, what's maybe your biggest takeaway?
Yeah, I think for me, that discussion about the value of a network, it's typically, we think of it as being mutually beneficial. That's how I've always thought about it. I'm going to give, I'm going to receive. But I love just from your story how that all shifted for you, and that now the heart of, I just want to be able to give, to the point you have to balance it and have the husband who says, hey, all right, learning those boundaries, but to be able to just give without expecting anything back. What about for you? What was the big takeaway from you today?
I would say your story was just such an inspiration. So many times our hardships are what becomes the chip on our shoulder or the things we sink our heels into and we hold on to. But you took that and you found purpose in it, and you took your pain and made it something that you could give a blessing and give hope to others. Yeah. And I think that if a lot of us did that, we would find more purpose in our life. Yeah. So I really appreciate your story and your strength.
Thank you, guys. That's
great. We're going to ask April just to stick around for a few minutes for our Patreon members. Going to have a little behind-the-scenes discussion with her, but that's just for our Patreon crew, part of the Patreon Inner Circle, or as Brinly calls it, the Cool Kids Club.
The Cool Kids Club. And that song plays every time in my head.
If you want to be part of that exclusive Cool Kids Club and get that exclusive content on a weekly basis, we have those VIP discussions that we will have with our guest just for our Patreon members. And if you want to be part of that, you can go to our Patreon. That's patreon.com/the Uncommon Success Podcast. And for $7 a month, you can join that and get those bonus features of content. Great discussions happen in those moments in time. So you can check us out there.
You definitely want to check us out. Don't miss all of that special content. But also, you can follow us on all of our platforms. We've got Apple. We've got Spotify. We've got YouTube. You can also join us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. We might be posting a video of someone singing in the background today on TikTok, so be sure to check that out. Keep liking, sharing, subscribing, reviewing. It helps our content. It helps promote it and lets other people, get to hear all this great stuff. And don't forget to leave us comments because we will be sharing that on our podcast.
Yeah,
so you need
and
to do that.
Have that drawing at the end of the month of February. We'll do a drawing for those books. For those of you who missed out on that opportunity, you didn't miss it. You get to still leave some comments and be part of the drawing for those 2 books. And this week we're going to put a poll up to find out if you'd be more interested in having Super Bowl tickets or Taylor Swift tickets. So check out that poll and let us hear your thoughts. We'd love to know where you stand on that. Not that it really matters at the end of the day, but it'll make us feel better if you align with one of us. Because I'm probably the only one in this room right now who wouldn't want to be at the Taylor Swift concert over the Super Bowl.
I think that says a lot about your character.
Probably so. You're probably right. Thanks again to our special guest, April Heaberlin, for joining us today. Yep, thank you for your time. And join us next week as we discuss financial literacy for success.
Wow, that's going to get real fast.
Yeah. Bring a notebook next week.
Bring it. Well, that's a wrap. Thank you, everyone, for listening. We appreciate you.
Yeah, have a great week. See you. Thank you for joining us on the Uncommon Success Podcast, where your commitment to growth fuels our passion to create more content. Special thanks to our executive producer, Jess Camp, and our technical director, Stephen Posey. We're excited about our episode next week and hope you would tune in to join us as we work together to continue our journey towards success. See you next time. Have a great week.